So one of the things I just wanted to bring to you from what we said last week was we were talking about John chapter 10. And I'd
Chapter
said,
2 actually, but
two. It begins with a T.
It
I'm
begins
so
with a T.
tired. We drove from Scotland yesterday and we just sat in the room all day today. And we didn't sleep for the last few nights. But
so what are you going to say about John 2?
well, we were talking about turning water into wine. And
Yeah,
hi
yeah.
there.
Hi.
Some of the other people from our course. And I said to you,
People walking past up there. Look,
they
there,
might
there
not want
they
to be
are.
on the
There they
telly. To get their permission. So we were talking about turning the water into wine, and I said I had some thoughts about why that was the first miracle, because in many respects we were saying that was quite controversial, that he didn't raise the dead, Jesus didn't do something kind for poor people, he didn't heal somebody as the first miracle. But the first miracle, when you're studying the scriptures, there's one thing you learn.
The
It's
law of first mention. When
And he got
someone's
it
first
first.
mentioned, then that's in itself that's a law. It means something very very profound, very.
It's like the first bell, like you're amplifying something by saying, look, this is how it's going to be from this point
Yeah,
forward,
that's
like
right,
setting
yeah.
a precedent.
Absolutely, yeah. Like Melchizedek was the first priest, and he came with bread and wine. That's the first mention of bread and wine in Genesis 13, I think it is.
In that respect about
And so those things are really significant, and this is the first mention of a miracle in John chapter 2, right at the front of John's Gospel.
So the one thing that I noticed is that it was done at a wedding, and why is that significant? Well, marriage is significant for Christians. It's not just something that's like a social creation. We believe that marriage is something that's been instigated by God, and the other first mention of the relationship between a man and a woman was right at the very beginning. At the beginning of the Bible in Genesis, you've got God created Adam and Eve, a man and a woman, and out of the side of Adam, he created Adam from the dust, so he made human, and then he took woman out of the side of Adam, and so at the very beginning there was a man and a woman in communion with God. The other thing is,
So just get back to what's that
well,
got to do with first
that was
mention of the miracle?
first mention of men and women, a relationship with God, between each other and with God, like that triangular relationship, setting a precedent for how God wanted to relate to
Okay,
mankind.
I think it's important that the first miracle wasn't to do with something
I'm moving on to that.
needful. It was to do with something that was totally luxurious. It wasn't
I
something
mentioned that
was-
last week, didn't I?
You
If you
did,
were
yeah.
listening, I mentioned that.
Yeah, you did.
So in Genesis, God created all these things for this couple that he hadn't yet created. He created the earth, he put fish in the seas, and he put birds in the air, and then he made the sun and the moon and all these, but the seed was in each of the plants. He hasn't had to create more trees and create more fish. They've reproduced. So then we get to the end of the book and we get to the book of Revelation. And one day Jesus is coming back again, and he's going to take all his church to be with him. And what's he going to do? He's not going to have a church service. He's going to have the marriage supper of the Lamb, and the
Oh,
wedding's
yeah.
there
Oh,
again.
so,
See, you weren't ready for
really?
that, were you?
No.
The marriage supper of the Lamb. So again, there's a marriage going on between the church and the Son of God. It started in Genesis, it ends in Revelation, or it begins again in the New World in Revelation. But when Jesus came in the New Testament, the first thing Jesus did to announce himself was a miracle at a wedding. And straight from the beginning, he's saying this new covenant, it hasn't made the old covenant obsolete, as in this union between men and women and marriage. No, this is to symbolise that this church that's going to be born after Jesus died and rose again, it's still got links with this union between man and woman, bride and bridegroom, Christ and his church. That's what I think. A lot, just like you said, they didn't need wine. It wasn't like he made food for the wedding. It was the wine that ran out. And so you've got the wine of the new covenant, the joy of being born again. It just, that exuberance, this lavish, just casting everything onto the Lord.
Well,
I think he's trying to
that's all.
shut me up.
That's all we got time for today, chaps. We've been all the way through the book, and
It's Genesis to Revelation in one easy or uneasy chapter.
so look, we've got to go back to school. They're starting up again in a bit, and we're going to go and take our place and.
They could
Thanks.
see your nose if you hold it like
Oh,
that.
you're right. Yeah, I better not do that. I'll put it up there. You're not allowed to look up there.
You might see there's no brain. This big empty hole. Sorry,
Right,
that was very
and
disrespectful.
It was,
to my husband.
and I should deal with her later when we go off air. But look, we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys later. Sorry for the
Okay.
short broadcast. Yeah.
Meditate on the marriage, weddings, stuff like that. See ya. Bye.